Hello and welcome, tortured brains of George Orwell's dystopian techno-feudal nightmare, to the haunted art studio of my sorcerer artist, Faustus Crow. It seems I have time to tell you a dark tale, since my crow is presently painting a succubus sister of mine, who is posing as his sexually alluring art model muse of the night amidst his triangle of art imagination. Her name is Lilith, by the way, whose sorcery tale I am going to now relate. Lilith is said to have been the first wife of biblical Adam before he got hitched up with Eve. However, Eve became very jealous of Lilith because she was Adam's anima. But then Lilith was made of the same golem mud as Adam, hence Lilith was very much enthroned within his kinky psyche. Alas, Lilith eventually rebelled against Adam's self-censoring ways, due to Eve's jealous god of a deified animus, who cast politically incorrect Lilith into the cancel culture pit. As the censored queen of the band Succubus, great old ones of the fallen anima. Lilith is generally considered to be a sex demon aspect of the fallen anima, who seduces sexually frustrated males within their politically incorrect playboy wet dreams, as well as having a folklore liking for strangling jelly baby boys. Over time, she was transformed into a vampire. However, Lilith is not strictly a vampire, which of a modern mystique has evolved since the late 19th century into a negativity bias fascination with Hollywood necrophilia and Twilight romances. Although the neck-biting vampire points at the throat area, where you can find the reptilian brainstem, which of a symbolic correspondence is associated with the symbolism of the serpent. The symbol of the serpent is very much entwined with Lilith, who is also said to have tempted Adam's second wife, Eve, to taste of the banned apple of knowledge. The apple of knowledge is associated with the hidden sphere of Dart in the Hebrew mystical system of the Kabbalah, which of a sphere corresponds with the throat area of the reptilian brainstem. The reptilian brainstem also governs over the autonomic nervous system, as well as determining the depth of hypnagogic trance and the experiential intensity of dreams. When inadvertently accessing hypnagogic trance at the midpoint between waking and sleeping, a dreamer might experience being tormented by an intense nightmare, which is technically termed as the old hag syndrome, or otherwise called the bedroom invader experience. For the unprepared dreamer, the old hag syndrome can be an intensely frightening experience, involving sleep paralysis. And while paralyzed, the dreamer will experience an entity swooping down upon him, likened to that of a predatory owl, which then proceeds to tread upon his chest as a mare. The ghostly presence will then assume terrifying alien forms, which will reflect back his deepest fears. When the fears mount to a fevered pitch of total abject horror, the dreamer will also experience the sensation of being strangled by a sphinx, which leads to the dreamer gagging for air, as if drowning, before he finally awakens, feeling utterly drained. The motif of Lilith having a folklore liking for strangling babies actually alludes to an inadvertent access of hypnagogic trance. The strangling of babies is a symbolic reference to an unprepared dreamer, who cannot as yet control his mounting childhood fears of being assailed by the bedroom invading presence of the alien abduction old hag syndrome, which in ancient times was represented as Lilith. It is the experience of mounting fear which will lead to the sensation of being strangled. This is due to the breathing pattern slowing down when sleeping, but when experiencing an intense state of fight and flight, fear, the rate of breathing suddenly increases. Although the body being paralyzed is slower to catch up, which leads to the dreamer reactively wanting to breathe more quickly. However, the reticular activation system response of the paralyzed body during sleep cannot quickly respond, which of a protective mechanism stops the dreamer from sleepwalking, who might just act out his witching hour dream by leaping from the 13th floor via a silver-framed window, whereby the dreamer experiences a sensation of being strangled due to the inadvertent access of hypnagogic trance, which leads to consciously accessing the dream. The vivid lucid dream will reflect back the beliefs of the dreamer, whether his beliefs are negativity bias personal, or otherwise molded by the mass formation psychosis of his cultural conditioning. Hence you have the Hebrew word, dart, which means belief. When the dreamer eventually realizes that the horrifying presence, which is assailing him, is due to his own programmed fears, which have been given terrifying form, because of shock hypnosis-induced false flag events having shaped his hypnotized beliefs, he then attains the banned knowledge of himself. The programmed fear of accessing hypnagogic trance can be negated by introverting the sexual impulse, whereupon the old hag syndrome of the bedroom invader can then be transformed into a visitation of Lilith, who as a succubus will then guide the dreamer into an erotic lucid dream. At a deeper level, Lilith can be seen as representing a tantric technique of dream yoga, which of a sexual practice enables the dreamer to attain lucid dreaming. It is within a lucid dream, the dreamer can then consciously conjure succubi, who are manifold aspects of Lilith, whereby she is considered to be their queen. The psychiatrist Carl Jung would otherwise call the anima of an alchemical term. Lilith is of the dream, being the implicate order of the microcosm, whereas Eve is of the waking world, which is the explicate order of the macrocosm. Lilith and Eve are associated with the two nerve channels of the autonomic nervous system, which are on either side of the spinal column of a conjuring Adam. When a dreamer consciously conjures a succubus within the microcosmic informational dream reality of Lilith, the conjured succubus will then initiate corresponding synchronicities to manifest within the macrocosmic reality of Eve, who can be otherwise equated with Maya of Hindu mysticism, or if you prefer, Eve is the matrix. In other words, Eve represents space, while Lilith is time. Basically, Adam is the dreamer, who is between Eve and Lilith, as depicted in the sexagram tarot card of the lovers. The tree of knowledge symbolizes the spinal column of Adam, whose reptilian brainstem is the serpent of Lilith, entwined around an apple, being that of the hidden dream sphere of Dart, which is consciously accessed via hypnagogic trance. The motif of the apple is also symbolically associated with the human pineal gland of an amphibian third eye. Back in 1972, the American biochemist Julius Axelrod discovered that the pineal gland produces DMT, which is a potent hallucinogenic substance. Adept meditators are able to flood the dreaming brain with their amphibian eye, DMT, which negates the need for substances like serpentine ayahuasca. The motif of the serpent represents an inner experience. A practitioner of yoga terms as the Kundalini Shakti, which is personified as a goddess, who is also depicted as a fire snake. The Kundalini Shakti fire snake describes the life force, which is intuitively felt to have a feminine source. Such could be indeed the case, since the energy output of every cell in your body is determined by the mitochondria, which is passed down from the mother to her children. As the Kundalini Shakti is aroused from the base of the spinal column to the top of the head, The Kundalini Shakti arises along the spine in a double helix fashion, likened to two entwined serpents of a caduceus. The fire snake then penetrates the 7 chakra seals of the endocrine system to open, which in the classical grimoires are associated with 7 planetary spheres. The chakras of the endocrine system are seen to be the abodes of the Dakinis, which are essentially succubi, who are energetic fluctuations of the Kundalini Shakti, whereby you can see the Kundalini Shakti as being Lilith. The Kalahari Bushmen of Africa, who are highly versed in the trance dance, are also aware of this inner energy they call Num. As the Num arises along the back of the neck, which is of the throat area, it then hits the back of the head. When it hits the back of the head, hypnagogic trance is attained, which is termed as Kia. Overall, the symbolism of Lilith pertains to the introversion of the sexual impulse in order to attain conscious dreaming. If, however, you believe otherwise, just be aware that your Dart beliefs, which have been primarily molded by the negativity bias of your culture, will determine what you experience internally. But in the knowing, you will verily be cast out of the top-down economic Eden, for within the New World Order kingdom of God's feudal Eden, knowledge is a sin, where the Orwellian virtue of indoctrinated self-ignorance is bliss. My dark tale has now come to an end. Bye for now. May your Necronomicon dreams be revealing of Lovecraft revelations when night-gaunt Lilith visits, between the space-time pylons of waking and sleeping, of a 7th runic seal revelation.